Hello, everybody. Today I have a very special guest, Maii Vu, who's a podcast host for the very cool podcast called Empowerment Muse. But I'll let Maii Vu explain exactly who she is. So, who are you? Hello, Maii Vu. How are you today?
Hi, thank you, Carina, for bringing me on the show. And I'm so excited to talk to you and also a lot of your audiences here. And my name is Maii Vu. I'm from Empowered Muse podcast. And it's really significant for me of the name because literally it's describing how I turned from like becoming a muse, just like a very good girl, very nice girl, into that empowering version of who I am right now. And that happens really, really fast. So I've been with that name for like 3 years. And I think it still speaks a lot about this journey of becoming more who I am to today.
I love it. So that's really beautiful. So tell me a bit, Maii Vu. How did you decide on that? So that was your journey, and did you have any fears that came into that and just shifted? And how did you do that?
Of course. And I'm sure like a lot of people here listening are facing a lot of fear in order to find the freedom. And I do find that fear and freedom actually come hand in hand. We usually assume that our controlling person, our parents or our society or our standard or the lack of money or the lack of energy or lack of knowledge. But when I was 26, I thought the same way, but then I realized that it's not those that actually keep me trapped. It's the attachment to my reality, is the fear of growing forward and get out of this comfort zone that actually trap me and getting me staying stuck inside of this circle. And I wanted to do so many things all the time, but I've never been able to really act on it just because of that internal voices always say, oh, it's not safe. And what if you fail? And you would not be able to do that. So of course, before I becoming a coach, I have a lot of fear, and the journey started way back in 2016 when I first had that breakthrough in my relationship with a coach help. At that time, in terms of feminine connection and self-love, and I saw myself doing the same thing, and I couldn't do it because the controlling the fear of like, oh, I don't have enough money, I couldn't follow through with it. What if I cannot make a career out of it? Because I was still living in Vietnam at the time, and coaching wasn't a big thing in Vietnam market until now, still not a big thing. So I didn't act on it, and I let the thing go, and I just follow through with the life standard that you have to get married, you have to have a kids and have family. Life doesn't turns out to be exactly the same way for me. And when I was carrying my baby, I saw that no, I wanted to raise the most empowering, the most independent, the most beautiful, gorgeous girl on the planet. And in order to do that, there's nothing else but the best thing I can do is actually become that. Because people learn, especially baby, learn from modeling the most. Like they learn from their mother showcasing. If I still showcasing her that, oh, I'm so fearful and I just stay here and I would never be able to act on my dream and really see what true potential of who I am, then she would be the same. And I think we would repeat the circle of I get frustrated over her growth and she always blame on me to never try. So instead of like, I see that so clearly. So instead of doing that and keeping that circles, I decided to cut it and act on it. I have no idea how to do it. I didn't have the money. Even my parents was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you investing so much money in that coach? Because at that time, the first big thing that I paid was $9,000, and I only have like 4,000 in my bank. Like that money was for my baby. Like when you give birth, the people give you the money and all of that, right? And I was crying. I was like, my gosh, if I use this money and I spend it and it doesn't make anything back in return, then I would never be able to raise the baby by myself. So I was crying, but I still act on that because I know this or something. Like if this doesn't happen, then the rest of the life, I would know what I have. It's going to be a miserable, stuck, trapped. So I act on it. I didn't even like let to talk to my parents because they don't understand. So I was crying my eyeball out, and I was seeing myself in the mirror. I was telling myself, you got to be the number one supporter for yourself in this journey. And that was the moment where I shifted from the muse into the empowered. That was a moment where I started to realize that every power is within me, and not with my parents' approval or with any financial conditionings. It was within me. If I want to do it, I have to support myself to go through and do it. And that built the resilience in me until now.
Wow, that's a beautiful story. And then, so you just started the podcast, and the rest is history.
Basically a lot of miracle happens in my life from that moment onwards, when I decided to get out of the fear. And fear is not something I avoid right now. Fear is something I work with every single day. And everything, just before we talk about my podcast, everything like the biggest dream inside of you, even like Carina or everyone who's listening, it's in that unknown zone, right? It's in that zone where you haven't really know what is it that, but you deserve that. And what I call it is, a lot of people avoid the unknown because it's dark. It's very dark. It's not familiar. It's so new, and people don't like the newness because we are built to like the safety. However, I really, in my whole system, in my whole coaching, and personally, I really work with the unknown a lot, like every single day, even because I know that life is a constant growth, and if I don't grow today, I would just be so behind. And also, if I get to be with the unknown all the time, I see the possibility is endless. And that possibility actually resulted into my podcast is only like, second year, not even second year yet. It's like 18 months. And we have over $90,000 to this point. I think we are well on the way to 100 marks very soon.
Wow.
It's pure organic. I don't do any ads. I don't even do a lot of interview exchange. I don't do a lot of that. It's just pure organic, speaking from my heart, and reaching a wider audiences. And also in my business, it's just the third year in my business, and I already make multiple six figures, coming from a place of earning like miserable 1,000 to 2,000, even like not knowing if that next money would come in, and I was have a part-time job, but now like multiple six figure is very effortless in my business.
I love that. So it's of course it is that, so because it's so easy to stay in your comfort zone, but that's what you think, but it really isn't easy, because as you were saying, it just keeps you stagnant. It keeps you lost and trapped and in fear. So to be able to step out into that unknown on a daily basis is a powerful thing.
It is powerful. It's not easy though, right? But what I remind myself is this, and I actually wrote about it the other day. It was this, like, we don't want that. Actually, our brain wants to be safe. And the two function of our brain is keeping us safe and saving our energy. That's all. So that's why we have autopilot behavior and program inside of us, so we don't have to remember it. And we also do something that's safe. Like if you touch a stove, like a hot stove, you would never touch it again because it's embedded inside of yourself, right? That is a very good mechanism for survival, right? You keep you safe. But we don't want to survive here, right? We wanted to thrive in life. So everything that, if you're doing everything till now to survive, like to keep yourself safe, to have just enough money to just keep that job, even your boss is like very bad and you hated the mechanism of the job, or even like you hated what your experiences, but you couldn't get out of it because you think it's not unsafe outside, then you are keeping yourself in the survival. You are under the brain control. And I always say this in my own podcast as well. Like, we are the creator of our life. If you let your brain drive you, then you actually literally driving a car without thinking. And, like the driver's seat, it's not you. It's actually your brain. And your brain wants to go to the past all the time, because the past is the way you know how your parents talk, how yourself, how your yesterday looked like, and you would predict the same day today, right? You would walk the same route, eat the same food. It's similar kind of food. Like, even you are like eating different vegetable, you still eat around that sort of function of, the bunch of vegetable that you're familiar with.
Yeah.
So brain keep us surviving by keeping us safe. But there's a price with that safetyness, and the price is a certainty. It sounds very counterintuitive, but the certainty is what you are certain to have if you keeping yourself staying in there. The first certainty is you're gonna always have the same days again and again. So repeating the same patterns. And there's pattern that you like, enjoy, but there are a lot of patterns that you hate so much and you haven't been able to clear out, right? You have really hated how you cannot stand up for yourself, how you cannot like really have more than enough money to sponsor someone, to be proud of, to treat anyone else for a beautiful dinner. You hate the feeling of lack. But then if you keep yourself safe, then you're repeating that lack again and again and again. And the second thing that we can be certain of is we are certain to be the same version of who we are. So basically, your 19 years old version, your 21-year-old, your 30-year-old, your 40 years old are similar. Now, with that said, a lot of the dream that you think you would do it by you become an adult, like 18 years old, you think that, oh, I will speak on stage, I'll write that book, and I'll think that when I become more adult and mature, I'll do that. But then you right now are no different than that 18-year-old. Then when are you going to do that? No, never you would be able to do that, because never you would be able to be that internal mature adults inside of yourself. The other certainty you would have is certain of the same level of money, the same level of impact, the same level of fulfilling or not fulfilling, the same level of fear, hatred, and all of that yucky feelings that we try to avoid. But it's so certain that you're going to have that. And that certainty, I want everyone to reflect here, is that really worth to be uncertain, right? Is that really worth to stay behind? Because COVID and life show you that life is so much about change. It's the only certain that I believe in life is change. The other certain is gravity. That's it. That's true certainty that I know to be right, to be true for myself. And I think COVID was the really bringing it out to your awareness more. So if you stay in that certainty, the one key certain you would have is the same life. And if you don't like that life, if you haven't liked that life, loved that life, then why are you keeping yourself stuck here? So yeah, that's how.
Yes, I love that. So what would you recommend someone get out of it? Because there's a lot of people that are stuck in this life, and they think about, well, I'd love to have this, or I'd love to go here, but I can't because I don't have enough money, or I don't have the love of my life, or whatever it is that they don't have. So what would you recommend to someone? How would they start to get out of that life?
It's a beautiful question, because honestly, don't think that I was born being this way. My best friend was fear. So I was living so much fear before. I was like coming from a low economic energy country. Even we are like very like fast growth right now, but it's still a lot of uncertainty around, and a lot of needs for money. I was always with fear, and I want you to know that I'm coming from a background that's similar to a lot of people who are here listening to this one. But the first step that really get me out of it was realizing that my circumstances doesn't create the next circumstances. My external reality doesn't create my external reality. What really creates everything that I have had, I'm having, and will have, so past, present, and future, the key factor to influence that creation was my internal being. That's all. My mindset, my thoughts, my belief system, my emotion, my actions. That internal world is what actually influence the external circumstances. That internal world created the past, influence the future, and repeating the present. That is the first step to recognize. Like, I want you to look into, there's a lot of patterns in your life, not even just in money by itself. If you feel lack of money, I'm sure you feel lack of time all the time. You feel lack of energy, you feel lack of ideas. And that, all in all, it's not just the circumstances of not enough money, it's just the feeling inside of you is not full. The feeling of not good enough is playing. So when I realizing that secret, I was like, wow, like if I created this past, then I can change the future totally, right? Like if I create the past and if I know the key door to unlock the past and rewind the past, I can totally create a new future. That feels even more amazing and empowering rather than thinking, oh, it's an economy downturn, it's not enough money and not enough, audiences. Like I made multiple six figure, which is 1,500 for following me. It's like incredible, mind blowing things that this industry doesn't have. So it's really about you and your internal world first that come first. Now, in order to understand that and unlock that internal world, then there's a couple key factors. The first thing is I really connect within instead of outside of myself. So I stop looking outside of myself, because your eyes only take in 0.01%. It's like, don't take my word for it, go research, but it's like 0.01%. So basically, if there is like 8,000 things in your life that happening right now, and you can only see about 1,000. So basically, you only see whatever you filter, and your filter will come through your belief system. What does it mean? So it means that whatever you're seeing right now, it's coming from your past belief that, oh, money is not abundant, so not everyone can do it. But look around you, there's so much more people make a bunch of money throughout COVID. And that is what I gather around me. Like I gather people who make so much more money during COVID because they mastered the inner game. So the first step is really come back to your inner game. Really look within. What is it in me that creating this reality? And the second thing is work with fear. Now, working with fear, it's easy and hard at the same time. Fear sometimes feel like a big monster and you just can't face it. Fear like to be hidden. But when you actually face it, it's not that big. It's usually to the cases of people who started out and, trying to break through from their current mundane life. Usually a fear is like a little girl, a little boy, the inner child inside of you, that craving for that safetyness, that's so afraid of taking that risk and doesn't want to bring on that more responsibility. So the fear, literally, it's just the inner child. It's hard to see it sometimes. It's playing many different roles, many different voices. But fear, it's just a little child in you that really need your attention. So facing fear doesn't be as hard, but it's literally an inner child game. But like a lot of people know about inner child, but doesn't know how to soothe the inner child in a way that actually bring out the best in them. So I'll tell you what to do next. So the last thing is literally brain hacks. Like we, until this point, we were living under the brain power for so long, right? And it is really time for us to gain back that driver's seat, to drive ourselves to the destination that we want, instead of, letting things run on autopilot. And all of that, actually, at the 3-step I did when I was in 2020, I'm going to share a story now. It's a miraculous story for me. Back in 2020, January of that year, I was still earning here and there on and off 1,000 to 2,000. I don't have enough money actually, so that's why I have a part-time job that pay me just enough for my rents and some food. Like I remember, I get like a 4-hour shift, and I paid for the babysitter the equal amount of what I am getting from my job. But in order to keep the job, I still have to work, right? And then I have like $10 extra from it. I was telling myself, if this $10 really can buy you some food, then do it. I don't like to be away from my baby, but it's no way. Like I want to tell this because it was that hard for me, being resettling back to Australia and not having that stable career. And then that was January, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I really wanted to start making $10,000. I wanted to, join that international level game of studying. I wanted to have that coaching experiences. I wanted to really bring the knowledge to more women, and I'm really enthusiastic about family living and how energetically we can create everything in our life. And at that moment in time, I never been able to see how does it happen. But then I pray and I let that goal be. And I wanted, it was like April, I wanted to get in 2 programs actually, and the total cost was 12,500. Now, until that point, I was a really good manifester. Whatever I need, I can manifest. But if I only need it so urgently, then I can manifest that. And I felt sick of that. I was like, wow, this pattern have to go, because whenever I really need it, I have no other way then the money would come. I don't like that anymore. And I declared to universe, hey, like, I don't want to just have 12,500, because if I pay that off, I have nothing, and I would go back to that job and you have $10 extra every hour. I was like, nope, I want double. And that was the first time I declared one double. And it really choked me when I say that, and don't know how, absolutely know how. I was having 250 people in my community, and most of that was my friends and, acquaintances and all. I didn't have the podcast yet at that time. My Facebook was like 2 likes, 5 likes. Like, it's literally very, very sad to look at that. I didn't give up on that one. So I came up, I saw a really inspiring idea to launch a class, and the class was a feminine class. I was like, feminine energy? Are you kidding me? Because I thought everyone know about this. I thought everyone live with that. I didn't know that it's something people doesn't know how to. I at that time, I was a love coach, by the way, and I was like, oh man, in the relationship, it's like so tiring, and it just shifted into feminine energy. It feels fearful. It's like totally different territory, and it's something I don't even believe people would pay for. So I sat down and I received the message: $33, 53 people would join you, and you would make 25,000. I was like, no logic. Right? 33 people is like $100, $200. Like, how can I create 25? But I have no other way, because by February, that month was the first pandemic wave, and everything was locked down. I lost my job, nowhere to go. So I have to literally follow that, because that is the only option. I need to break through my business. And there I go. I launched that $33 class, and I was having like about 20 people join, because half of them was my existing private clients, and the other half was like some people who already follow me on my friends, and I, give it free and all of that.
Yes,
I was excited. And I was still keeping that excitement going on. And suddenly there was a girl messaged me out of nowhere, and she was like, wow, I'm so happy to know you. She's from Vietnam, and I'm so happy to know you. She's also a beautiful coach in Vietnam, and she's like, oh my god, whatever you're teaching is so aligned with me. And at that moment I thought, no Vietnamese would get what I'm speaking. But I was surprised to see that. So happy to offer her, like, hey, like, do you want to do a live stream just like this podcast? I was like, yeah, do you want to do this? And she was like, yeah, like, let's do a live stream on feminine energy to her audiences. And her audiences wasn't that big, like 1,500 followers, like around 1,007, not that big. But oh my gosh, like, I remember that time I do that class, 33 people joined free for like, I teach feminine energy for 30 minutes. Everyone was so happy and so excited. And I was like, oh, I already have the feminine class in English. I may as well just do it in Vietnamese.
Yes.
And I launched in that day, that one, the same price, $33. And I still remember how 30 people was joining, at 30 or 35. And I've got immediately 35 people like bought it. Like, the conversion was crazy, right? Someone doesn't buy it, but then they would even refer me to someone else. Like, it was that mind blowing. And at the end, I've got in total 2 classes, 73 people join. Now, the story doesn't end there. With $33 doesn't make a lot of money. But then out of that $33, there's so many women ready to be private coached by me. Yeah. And I charge, and I started to have like 6-month package instead of 3 months. I like teach a whole strategy in the course, but like, I literally have 5 new private clients, and then there's 6 more joining my data dream program, which is like advanced group coaching. And then coming out of that, another 6 joining my Vietnamese group coaching. I was like, wow, there's like so much people and money coming in. It's just a floodgate open. And in total, I made $25,000 in that 2 months. And that was the period. But from January to February, it was miserable. It was like oh my gosh, how can it happen? But April and May was a big breakthrough. And from that point, I never dropped down. And that was a year I made my first 6-figure income.
Wow, that's a beautiful story.
And I doubled it the next year by working half. So I call it miracle shift. And the step that I used to create that shift was literally going inwards, and then trust my intuition and be able to download the illogical steps because your goal is so illogical, right? You need that illogical approach. You cannot do it with logic. You cannot do it with working harder. And that was the first miracle shift. And from that moment, I repeat and create. So that is why I teach in the coming up events, miracle shift, the exact same step that I was telling you, like how to get out of fear and start walking on towards that dream, because literally it's illogical and you have to start learning the illogical approach to get that happen.
Yes, I love that, and I found that as well. That is when you force things, or when you want things to happen, or you expect things to happen, they never happen. But if you do, you sit down and you listen, then you see it, and a lot of times it doesn't make sense. But you just follow that path, and it's very exciting to see things starting to open. I love that story.
The thing is, when you hear that, sometimes your brain would come in right away to say, "No way, this would happen," right? And the ability to really minimize that brain voice and be able to hear the intuition voice is the key here. Like it's easy to download, it's easy to connect, but it's not easy to follow through to the end. There was time where I remember before that 25K, and I was having 250 people, right? And that was February. I was like doing a summit free actually. And I sent and I sit out, and it was like, I expect 100 people to join. No, it was like 70 people joined, and only 50 people actually got into my Facebook. But I got to see the goal of that month was 350 people in my group. I was like, oh my gosh, like how can that happen? So I stuck it through. And I remember that was the last day of February. I was still remember it was Sunday. It was Sunday or like a weekend, like Saturday or Sunday. Sometime that I was off. But I remember my VA was like, oh my gosh, what happened? Like, why our group have so many people? She messaged me. I was like, wow. I was like playing with my kid. I was like, wow, what happened? and I found out the girl that I mentioned before. She was such a miracle angel for me. She actually talked about me briefly in one of her posts, and like 100, even more, like flying into my group.
Wow.
And I have that even more than 350 people at that end day of the month, and I was like, wow. It just you cannot make this up, and you cannot just discredit this to miracle. Cannot.
Yes. And also I love the thing that you if you work together, you collaborate and you join hands, so to speak, and you share each other's audience, you also see that growth as well, which is very cool.
It's not a strategy that I'm using, because with logic, I would choose someone that is, beautiful and bigger audiences for her as well. So the thing is, when we act out of that as a strategy to get something, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. I don't know if someone may work. But for me, beside that one, I also get to work with another bigger coach in Vietnam. Like she have amazing community, very well known across Asia, and she still decided to work with me because she needs some skill that I have. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, it's not logic that we want to go here. It's sometimes very illogical, because when you are illogical, then that person doesn't use logic to work with you, and that is where all the opportunities can happen. I mean, she do with, I don't know, but with her and me, we don't work with logic. So that's why whenever we come together, it's like explosive growth for both. But for her, with another person, doesn't grow that much. And for me, with another person who would actually go by strategy, also doesn't do that much. So the key is the excitement, the energy behind the action.
Mm-hmm. Very, very nice. So, Maii Vu, would you say you found freedom?
Yeah, I live in total freedom, and I really wanted to give that back to the people here. The total freedom doesn't lie in how much money I make, how much impact I have, doesn't lie in the illogical result I created that you cannot track by numbers. It's really the freedom of knowing that whatever I'm having in my life right now, I can create the other different reality. That is the freedom. Like if I don't like this level of money, I can create next. If I don't like this level of treatment, I can create a better one. If I don't like how I'm feeling, I can create another one. And that, for me, it's ultimate freedom. Like you become a creator when you don't get to be under power of anything or any other circumstances, and you literally doesn't matter whatever happening in life, I can create my own world inside. That is how I live from. And I really wanted to pass that back and to get more people to live in this freedom. And that's why I do the Miracle Shift event.
Very cool. Thank you. Maii Vu, where can people find you? And I know you've also got a very cool event coming up. Tell us a bit about that.
So it's the same actually. So thank you for asking. People can go and sign up for my Miracle event in bit.ly.com/miracle shift. So it's BITLY.com, bit.ly.com/miracle, and shift is SHIFT. So literally it's a miracle shift that get you out of ordinary life into the extraordinary and prepare you to dare to dream big and get that potential of you coming out and live in ultimate freedoms. So it's coming up in 21st to 24th of March. It's totally free for now. If you join when the seat is still available for free, but I have a limited seats for free, and then it's a paid event for like $121. But if you can join like as early as you listen to this podcast, you can grab the free seat, I'm sure.
Oh, that's very cool. So, and all the details will be in the show notes.
If you also wanted to follow me through and hear more about this miracle story and effortless success, which is about me, you can also find me at Empowered Muse podcast. It's all on Spotify and iTunes, or you can go to my website maivucoaching.com. So MAIIVU coaching.com. That is my my website and my podcast.
Thank you so much. And everyone, all the details will be in the show notes. Thank you so much, Maii Vu. It's been such an honor and a pleasure to have you. And I'm sure this event is just going to explode. It sounds great.
Yeah, you're going to feel that, right? You're all going to be. And I also want to invite you and your team as well. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And have an awesome day. Thank you, everyone. Thanks. Bye. See you soon.